Hi, welcome to the last class. So we have had a long journey in terms of 19 days already. This is the last day, 20th day. We've covered everything almost. And in fact, apart from the normal syllabus, we've also covered these 3 or 4 things. In today's class, we are going to discuss some mock questions, how the questions look like when you appear for CSA exam, and what can you do further after this? I mean, what are the next steps in the journey? How are certifications aligned in ServiceNow? We'll talk about all of that today. So of course, because it is a 1-hour session and I have to complete both practice questions and next steps. So we'll do first half an hour for practice questions, the last half an hour for certifications, understanding, and next step, right? You will get a lot of, if you search on Google, you'll get a lot of question answers, a lot of mock questions for CSA, a lot of dumps there, so that you can always use. But this is to give you the idea about how are the questions framed, what kind of questions are being asked in the examination, so that you get some understanding. This is how it looks like. Yeah. So let me share my screen. I think screen I'm already sharing. Let me talk about some questions. So let's see this. Question number 1. It says, the Now platform is an example of which cloud computing model? What do you think? I think the answer here is, we have options as A, software as a service, B, infrastructure as a service, C, application platform as a service, and D, platform as a service. We have studied about it very well. It was the first class we talked about it. We clearly said it was application platform as a service, right? So let's see if the answer is correct. Yeah, answer is correct. It is application platform as a service. Second number is a role is a. Can you see the number of options there? There are almost 6 options there. A role is a set of members to a subscription, or is a set of users delegated to perform different tasks, or is a collection of tasks, or is an individual to whom you have granted access to your ServiceNow instance, or is it a collection of permissions, or is it a set of users who share a common purpose? So of course, it is not a set of members, it is not a set of users, it is not a set of tasks as well. It is not an individual, because we've learned about, we give roles to a group or to users so that they can do certain things, which means it is a set of permissions which are given to a particular group or a user to do that activity. So the answer is E, which is collection of permissions. The third one, a group is again some similar kind of options. Collection of permissions, no, because we have talked about it already that it is a collection of permissions called as a role. Is it a collection of tasks? Of course not. Group, I mean, by the name itself, it suggests it is a group of people who are doing certain tasks. All right, so it is set of users delegated to perform different tasks? Of course not, because if you are performing different tasks, then there is no point of giving you the access to the same group. Set of members to a subscription? No, it's not about subscription. Is it an individual? So the moment it is an individual, it is not a group, right? So the only option which is feasible here is it is a set of users who share a common purpose. For example, server teams, there is a network team, database team, application support team. So all of that, all of those people just share a common purpose. And that is why the answer to this question is set of users who share a common purpose, which is number 5. Sorry, point number F. Then the next, so again, this is just a sneak view, or I would say, a purview in terms of how do the questions come up. You will have multiple choice questions, which means you have to select one of them. You will have multiple select answers also, because there are cases where they have more than one answers. There you have to be more careful, because even, for example, there are 3 answers to the question and you have selected only 2 of them, or third, you have selected wrong, then the entire question will be marked as incorrect. That is why it becomes more trickier, you have to be more careful in terms of those questions where you have more than one answer. It's all of them have to be correct. Read the question carefully, look at the options, see what are the most appropriate ones, and then decide it. Right? Do not do it in a hurry, because you have 90 minutes of exam, so it is good enough time to do the questions. And some of them will be single choice, so that will be really easier for you, of course. However, you should be extra careful, and it is for any exam, not only for ServiceNow CSA exam, for any exam. Whenever you're giving the examination, you should be very careful in terms of the questions asked, right? Especially in case of multiple options there. So this is the following, which of the following is a primary way to interact with the applications and data in a ServiceNow instance. Primary way. The question is primary way because as far as ServiceNow user interface is concerned, now mobile is an interface, service portal is an interface, now platform UI is an interface. However, the most widely used, the most primary way is now platform UI, the main interface which we use to see the tasks, see the changes, incidents, problems, and do the tasks, approve it. So all of that happens there. That is why now platform UI is the primary way to interact with the application data in ServiceNow instance. Next question you have. What do you select to personalize the system settings of the now platform user interface? So if you remember, if I have to do some setting personalization for myself, there is a gear icon, which I click. On that gear icon, I can personalize the view. I can change the fields here and there. So it does not happen by magnifying glass because magnifying glass is for searching. Gear is the one which I'm talking about, which is used to personalize system settings. Question mark, no, it is for help. Logo, it does not solve that purpose. It is for branding purposes, right? That is why it is gear. When you say, let me log into my instance as well. All right. So this is where we said we personalize system settings to the now platform user interface, right? Here, this is that system settings part for the end user. This is where you can personalize settings, notifications, accessibility, theme, everything, whatever you want to do. We've talked about it already, so I'll not go much into detail. What is selected to impersonate another user? Options are user menu, system settings, magnifying glass, application navigator. So system settings, we know we cannot impersonate from there. We just saw that. Magnifying glass is for searching. Navigator is for just finding out the applications. We're talking about impersonation of the user. This is from here you do it. This is called as user menu. Impersonate user, right? That is why the answer is user menu. Now let's go to the next one. Question is, you need to go back to review a record we just looked at recently. What is one of the quickest ways to navigate back to the same record? So it is not asking you what are all the ways. It is asking you the quickest ways. Now the option is navigate back to its corresponding list. Of course, this is, you can do that always. Select the record from the history tab. We'll see about it. Impersonate other user. Of course, that does not make any sense to review a record, which you just looked at recently. The point here is the record you just looked at recently. Expand every application, all application step. This would be the, I would say, the longest method to search a record, to navigate back to the record. So the answer here is select the record from the history tab, because that is the quickest way to find out a record which you recently visited. If you remember, it was here. This is a history tab. This is where you can see everything. But whatever you recently navigated, all of that will be logged in here. So that is why it is the quickest method, right? Let's go further down the line. Then a question like, what are the three main screen elements of the now platform user interface? It says select three answers from the below options. So luckily, they've told you clearly that you have to select three answers. It is not two, it is not four, it is three clearly. Now, what are those three options? Application frame, banner content, content frame, application navigator. So application, so if you see the screen back, this is what is your application navigator. This is your content frame, and this is your banner frame. These are the three elements in the interface. That is why the answer is, there are three answers here. One is application navigator, second is content frame, D, E, and B, banner frame, which is on the top of it. Now the next question, which of the following are ways to create a favorite? Select three answers from the below options. Drag an individual record to the favorites tab. Yes, you can do that. Three answers, so three of them will be correct. Drag the breadcrumbs of filtered list to the favorites tab. Yes, this is also a way, because you can always go to a list. For example, if I go here and if I just show you something like all incidents, right, and maybe open unassigned, for example, then I can always this is my breadcrumb. I can always drag and drop it here, right? I can drag an individual record to favorite tab. This is also I can do. I can take it to favorite tab. Select the personalizing gear icon. No, this is not the way to create a favorite. It is just to change the view. Select the star of its corresponding application module. Yes, you can click on the star. For example, this one. right? So this is the way, this is the star you're talking about. This is how you add it to your favorites, and we'll come here in this section. There are three options. Number one, first one, individual record. Second is breadcrumbs, which is that view which we talked about, this one. And third is your select the star of its corresponding application or module. This is how you do create a favorites, right? So these are the questions which I was talking about, which have more than one answers. Here you have to be extra careful. Now, few more things I just want to talk about here, right? So generally, see, there is one thing that we understand the concepts, fair enough, but then there are some questions which require some kind of theoretical knowledge also. You need to know those terminologies. What is a list context menu? What is a form design? What is form layout? So we have read about all of that in quite a lot of detail. It is just that sometimes we forget those terms and terminologies. So which is where they also put some emphasis on the kind of questions that they ask you that particular term and terminology also. So you need to be very careful about those terminologies, those wordings which they want to use, right? So what are the different kind of types of menu? We'll see those questions also, which are not conceptual in nature, but more of theoretical in nature in terms of checking your knowledge, whether you know that or not. That's the whole purpose. Let's talk about the next one. It says, which of the following would be included in the results when entering service in the navigation filter? Select two answers from the below options. So this is a little tricky question. I'm typing the letter called service in the navigation filter. Now, what all would be visible? Two answers will be there, right? So only applications with and modules in sections with names containing service? No, because you can have services, you can have anything which has the keyword service, even with an S, with D, will also be there. So only is a wrong word here. You will see these things, of course, but not only. Any module with a name containing services, yes. Definitely yes. Services, even the word is services, because service is a subset of the word services, so it will also be there. All modules and sections with the service-based application, yes. Because the moment you type the word service, anything, any menu or section which has a service, all the things inside it will also be visible by default. So if you remember, let's do this way, right? For example, I'm doing incident here. So incident menu. So in these words, you don't have the word incident, but still it is a part of this particular application. That is why it will also be there, right? It is important to understand. So that is why only applications with the name containing service, no, only is not the right word here. So any module with the name containing services and all modules and sections with the services application will be there, because you've seen it already, right? Even if service word is not there in the corresponding modules, it will also be there, because service desk is by default filtered as an application when you type it in the navigation filter. Let's talk about the next ones. What are some of the benefits often recognized by branding instances? This is a kind of question which comes by reading, right? I mean, we have discussed about it, to be honest. I remember discussing about these kind of things, that how do you, what kind of benefits do you get while branding instances? But people don't remember these things because these are quite theoretical in nature. You understand the concept, fair enough. But yeah, you don't remember it. Some things you need to kind of remember also. Okay, yeah, I can do this by this. So if you remember, when we talked about branding instance, first thing is it creates a shared identity. It can tell you, okay, which instance we're talking about, whose instance is there, is a dev, test, production, whatever, which company, which client this is for. That is why it creates an identity for you. It accelerates adoption rates because people can look at that particular banner branding on the top and they can immediately adopt things quickly, so that it helps acceleration of adoption rates. It shares comprehensive assignment rules. No, there is nothing which happens with the help of branding for assignment rules. Does it reduce service desk calls? I don't think so, because branding does not reduce any calls for that matter. Does it gain user trust? Yes, it gains user trust. So these are those intangible benefits which you cannot kind of measure as such, but yes, they do help in doing these things. So which means the answer here is create a shared identity, accelerate adoption rates, and gain user trust. A, B, and E. Okay. Now the next one. Each ServiceNow solution provides its own guided setup. We have talked about guided setup. We have seen the guided setup of ITSM also. When implementing IT service management, where would you navigate in order to update the Now platform user interface, branding, including the company logos and colors? We have done this exercise in branding. There was a chapter, there was a topic which we talked about it. So there are two ways to do it. One is that you do it from guided setup, ITSM guided setup. This is one, of course, one of the areas where you do that. And second is system properties, basic configuration UI 16. So if I go back here, if I show you system properties, then you have this basic configuration UI 16. This is where, if you remember, we actually did that part. All that branding we did here, right? It does not happen anywhere else. It does not happen in my company. It does not happen anywhere else as well, right? That is why the answer is, and we have done it in guided setup. So you can check that class again where we've talked about how to do that in guided ITSM setup. That is also one of the areas where you do it. Don't do it by these things, my company or properties. That is not the way to do it. So these are straightforward ones. These are easier ones, to be honest. Which of the following branding features can be configured? Now, if you have remembered that particular screen where I'm talking about this screen actually. So it tells you what all things are what are options are available, right? So if you see it here, it says, yeah, you can tailor the look of the page, top banner, text, logo, color, time zone, date and time format. And then these are things you can do from here, right? So that is what it is talking about here as well. Banner, image, text, color, yes. Navigator responses, no, we can't do that from branding features. Navigator position, no, this is also not a branding feature. System date and time, yes, we just talked about it. Navigator background text colors, yes, we can do that. Browser tab title, yes, we can do that. And we have seen all of that when we are talking about the classes. You can refer to the class again. So the answer option, I think I've not written all the answers here. Okay. So one is A, second is D, third is E, and then fourth is, oh, okay, so they're written there, but then I've not marked it in black. Yeah. Yeah. So A, D, E, and F. These are the four options which are there for branding features. Now let's talk about some of them further. Lists provide context menus. So this is one of those questions which I was talking about some time back, where you need to remember certain things theoretically also. That there are three different levels where lists provide context menus. What are the names of those context menus? Select three answers into the options. Now, this is where you need to know this. It is not a conceptual thing. It is a conceptual thing at a certain level, but still, even after learning the concept, you might not be able to remember everything, to be honest. That is why these are those kind of questions where you need to know the answers. So in this case, the answer is list title menu. This is where you can do the context menu. You can do list column context menu. From column also we can do that. And fourth is list fields context menu. So if I were to say what I'm talking about here, let me, now for example, if I am here, so one context menu is from here, right? Similarly, with this is the title. This is where you have the title menu, context menu. This is your field context menu. This is what they're talking about. One is list title menu. Second is list column context menu. So which means if I click on here, I can see all of these things. Column context menu. And third is your list fields context menu, right? Now let's go further. Which menu can users access to display actions that involve creating quick reports, configuring lists, and exporting data? Now, all of that happens from here. If you see what I mean, this is where you configure the reports. You can do a pie chart. You can configure the list layout, and you can export the data. This is called as column or field, because we have talked about these are actually columns and fields. So the answer is column context menu to do this. So these are things which I said require some theoretical knowledge also to crack the examination, right? So these are conceptually you might know from where to do that, but yeah, what do you call that particular thing is something you also need to know, right? A filter is a set of conditions applied to a table to help you find and work with the subset of data. In the Now platform, filter conditions are also referred to as, so these are the conditions we're talking about. We just talked about it. If I put any filter here, then this whole thing is called as breadcrumbs. What it is called as breadcrumbs. This particular thing is called as breadcrumb. So again, this is again those questions which you need to know the answers of. Right? It is not conceptual thing, but yeah, you know to know that. Which search feature can be used to help narrow down search results in ServiceNow? You remember when we just want to filter out few things and then we use asterisk sign, which is actually the wildcard. Right? For example, if I were to say column Abraham, I don't have to type the entire name here, but still I can see the records for Abraham Lincoln. Any records which has Abraham in the first name or in the last name also, it will come up here. Right now, I have only these records. So this is where it helps you to narrow down the result. And it is called as wildcard character with an asterisk sign. So where the answer is, I think answer is here. This B, wildcard characters. Or the next one, similarly. A column in a list represents what in the ServiceNow instance? We just talked about it. Column. This is what? This is actually a field on the particular form. That is why it is a field. This is a conceptual question which should be clear. Different form templates can be applied to a form by accessing the form templates can be applied. They're not talking about creating a form template. We're talking about applying a form template. So template editor is for creating, template bar is for applying the form templates. Double template views just shows you how many templates are available, right? Template creator, no. So it is, the answer is template bar, which is used to apply. For example, if I were to go here, like I want to say that apply this template, then this is the template bar, which I'm talking about. Now from here, you can apply any template, whatever you want to apply. How do you get to this bar is a different question that you have to click on toggle templates. Then you will see it, otherwise you won't see it, which is fine. But then from where will you apply it? You'll apply it from the template bar. This is a very tricky question where people might go wrong. That is why it is important to understand these kind of cases also. That is why I'm saying again and again that question has to be read very carefully. Options have to be read very carefully. And as I said, it is true for any exam, not only this one. You have some tricky questions. Now, a field can be added to a table and form by accessing which part of the form designer interface. I want to add a field to a particular table or a form, and I have opened the form designer already. Now, in form designer, what is that part called as? From where you add a field. Now, for example, if I were to configure a form for this, form design, let it get loaded. So this is the area. This is a field navigator screen from where you can create and apply a field, right? So it is field navigator. It is not field formatter. This field formatter is used for field types here, right? It is not form settings. No, it is not form views. We don't do that from form views, right? We're talking about form designer interface, not the form layout interface. Which field type displays records from other table? So attachments field type it is asking, right? So we have already seen the field types in the instance. How many, there are so many field types, right? Now attachment, choice, string, reference. So if you remember, we talked about it that if I am talking about any other table, for example, this one, wherever you have this box, this particular lookup using list, this is the reference field, which means it is referring to any other table in ServiceNow. That is why it is called a reference table, because it displays records from other table. Okay. Now the next question. When using form designer, icons presented on each field include which of the following? Select 3 answers from the below options. So when you go to form designer and you come here, what are the options available for these fields? And you have, I think you have remove icon, you have edit icon, you have handle icon. Again, this is something you need to remember kind of, because you won't remember. See, when we see things, we can always relate to it. Okay, this is what happened. This is what is to be used. We may not know the exact word which is used to call that particular thing. That is why this is again that kind of question which I just talked about. Right? Sorry, where are we? Right. So we just talked about it. Remove edit icon and handle icon. What allows users to see a timestamp history of all actions taken within record? So we have seen it already. It is that activity stream, which shows you everything what happened to the particular form. For example, if I were to go to this form and I go here, so this is where you have the activity stream. It shows you everything. What has happened to the record. That is why it is called as activity stream. Which menu provides options related to viewing, configuring, creating favorites, and saving form data? Viewing, creating favorites, and saving form data. The answer is form context menu, because from here, this is your form context menu. From here, you do everything. Create favorite, viewing, configuring, you configure a lot of things from here, configure so many things. And then you save the form data. You can save it from here, right? So this is why it is called as form context menu. It is not form personalization menu. This is what is called as personalization menu. We have seen it already. We're not talking about this one. Form layout menu also we have seen. For example, if I click on here, if I do configure form layout, we don't do it from here because this is just to get the fields on the form. We do not do it from here. This is the form layout view. We don't do it from here, right? So that is why it is important. Now let's next one. Which tab contains the activity stream for a task? We just saw that right now. It is that notes tab on a particular record. If I click on here, if I click on here and I go to activity stream, this is the notes area where every notes section under which everything happens. Yeah. So answer is notes. Which of the following are ways to collaborate team members on tasks? There are ways we talked about how, and there are 4 answers from here. You can do that from multiple options, right? So let's see. You have addition comments, you have activity stream, user presence, work notes connected. So we have seen it already. Activity stream is one area we can do that. User presence is one area we can do that. Work notes also we can do that. Because additional comments are not for team members. Additional comments are for customers and end users, if you remember. Work notes are for team members. That is why we have to select one option out of these 2. Activity stream we have seen already, user presence we have seen already, connected we have seen already. So all of these things. Connect chat. All right. So let's move forward. Which of the following best describes tasks? Select 3 answers from the following options. Task can only perform once. Task minimize the possibility of human error. Yes. Are repeatable processes? Yes. That is why we create them. Lead to quicker resolution time? Yes. Definitely yes. Which of the following is a best practice when configuring assignment groups or rules of productive intelligence? Select 4 from the following categories. This is, they're asking, okay, when you have to auto assign things, for example, based on some intelligence, how do you do that? What are the things you can do? Setting an assignment group and user based on categories of category? Yes, you can do that. Setting a user based on categories of category? Yes. Setting an assignment group based on category and subcategory? Yes. Setting an assignment group based solely on subcategory? No. Because you might have a situation where category is none. Then you might have multiple subcategories, same subcategory for different categories. How will you determine that? So it is always a combination of category and subcategory where you select the assignment rule. You do not do it just based on the subcategory. So the answer is A, B, C, and E. Which 3 tabs are used? Which 3 tabs are used? There are some more questions, but I think let me see if we can finish it quickly. Which 3 tabs are used to configure email notification? Select 3 answers from the below options. This is what we have read very carefully. When you try to create a new email notification, you have to put 3 things there. First is what it will contain, when to send, who will receive, right? So this is very clear answer, theoretical answer, even theoretical as well as conceptual. You should know this. Right, so there is no surprises here. Which of the following are valid report sharing options? Select 5 answers from the below options. See, there are so many options: A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It will give you very good understanding also in terms of how do you share a report. You can share a report by exporting PDF. Yes. You can publish it. Yes. You can edit dashboard. Yes. You can add it to homepage. Yes. You can schedule it, you can share it. Homepage, I think is not the right option here. So everything else we can do. So I think I've not yet made it black completely. So these are 5 options, right? A, as I said, export to PDF, then you have publish, then you have add to dashboard, then you have schedule, and then you have share. You don't add to homepage for report sharing. You do it for yourself. You don't do it for others. For when you share, you're talking about others. Which phase of the report design lets you define the group by attribute? So if you remember, when we're creating a report, we had 3 or 4 options there. One is the data, second was configure, then you had type, and then you style. So in the case of configure, you do that group by attribute. Styling is main for mainly for look and feel. Type is talking about what kind of report you want to select by Pareto, bar. Data is which table you want to select, what are the filters. Right? So this is what you've seen already when you're creating reports. Now this is on which the following workflow types does the Now platform provide, select 3 answers. So if you remember, we have seen the ServiceNow website, you have IT flows, you have customer flows, you have employee flows. You don't have end user flows as such because they are part of customer flows or employee flows itself. The answer is B, C, and D. So again, we have not covered the entire set of questions because that will require a lot of sessions. You can have questions from so many sections. We have read almost 17 topics so far. So if I start taking questions from all the 17 topics, it will be a very long exercise. As I said, if you have access to Now Learning, you can always go and do the questions from there. You can practice some more questions from there. You can do the simulator instances also, which you must do because that is the official way to get to ServiceNow certification stage. Only when you get access to Now Learning and you open the voucher, then only you can do that. So, and do some search in Google, find out some mock questions, do it for there. So as long as you have understood the concepts and you know the theoretical wordings, for example, form context, list context, personalization, gear icon, breadcrumbs, then it is not a very difficult task to do. You just need to be extra careful for multiple choice answers. This is what is most important. So we can go on and on in this list, but then there is no stopping there, right? So it will be very long. So I'm not going that detail. The idea is to give you that look and feel. How do the questions look like? What kind of questions do we have? Up to what level they can go? They also go to theoretical level. They also check a conceptual level. So there are multiple things they will have to see there. Now, once we have done this set of questions, which means you have understood the kind of mock questions which will come in the examination, you can, as I said, you can refer multiple sources to do some practice around it. Now, let me take you through the next steps in the certificate, in this journey. I mean, you have done the training now. What is next? How do you take your career further from here in terms of ServiceNow? Now, let's go back to the slide. So let's understand this a little more. So first of all, there are role-based certifications, which means you have a choice based on your interest, based on your job role. Which area do you want to divulge in? I'm not talking about their products right now. I'm talking about the roles you have, because these roles are applicable for all the products except the system administrator part, because it is a generic one, which is used for everything. But otherwise, all these roles you see here: application specialist, architect, developer, implementer, pre-sales expert, sales expert, system administrator. First 6 roles are for every particular module you have in ServiceNow. Maybe ITSM, you have ITOM, you have HRSD, GRC, SecOps, legal, workspace. So many things are there. So for depending on a job role and depending on the interest you have, you should be going further into those areas. Now, architect is all about designing part. When you talk about application specialist, it requires that scripting knowledge, right? Implementation also, development is more about scripting, of course. What kind of functions do you write? How will you call that function from here to there? So all those things. First, identify your interest, identify your job role, or you already have been working on ServiceNow, so you must be working on in a particular role. So just try to flourish in the same role. Do this certification and go for it, right? So the good part is that based on your SDLC cycle, if I talk about then any SDLC cycle for any implementation, right? Any product journey, you have roles for every kind of personality here, right? So for example, business analyst, people can do implementer or pre-sales expert kind of roles. System administrator, there is a very clear certification path, right? For anything more technical, you need to go for first, second, and third roles. Now, how to go about it? What are the steps which you need to follow for doing this, right? First of all, you need to get access to Now Learning, which you can always register. So if you are a part of a company which is a partner of ServiceNow, or you are a customer of ServiceNow, in that case, they give you those kind of vouchers, they give you those kind of privileges to learn things via Now Learning platform. They give a lot of trainings free of cost. So you can do it from there, right? Or you pay. You pay for it, whatever training you're interested in, and then go for it. If you're not a partner or if you're not a customer, you're just learning it for yourself, then you need to pay. Now, obtain a voucher. This is where I was saying you have to pay. So I think for system administration training right now, the rate is 300 USD, which could be discounted if you are a partner or a customer. Even for system administration, sometimes they may even waive it off. Depends on case to case, right? I don't want to go much into that detail. First, you've gained access to Now Learning portal, then you've obtained a voucher. Then next step is to create a web assessor account. Now, this is where it is that area where you actually log in. So I'll just show you that here. How does it look like? Maybe, so if I go here and if I were to show you, this is that particular area, webassessor.com for ServiceNow. This is where you can register for the exam. A very simple registration exercise. And they talk also about what is the exam release date, what is exam blackout period, which means during the blackout period, you will not be able to see your exam catalog or you will not be able to register for the exam. Sometimes they have to maintain those things, which is where they don't actually apply for exams. So they don't give you any date for that time, right? If your voucher expiring, then also you need to select a date prior to the exam blackout. They have a maintenance fee window also, that during this time you can do the maintenance of exams. They have already published the dates here. You can see this, right? Clearly, what are the dates here for everything? And they have the certification candidate journey guide, which you can always see what kind of, whatever questions you have, which exam, how will the exam look like? All of these things will be here, right? So here you can create a web assessor account, you register for the mainline exam. I'll talk about what is mainline versus micro. Then there are both options. You can go to a test center and appear for examination. During pandemic, I think the test centers were not working. So that is why everything was online proctored. And they're very strict in terms of their online proctored testing requirements, that you have to have a separate camera, for example. You cannot take a break. You have to be on the camera all the time. So all those things are there. So which means it is a very genuine thing which you have to do there, right? So online proctor testing is one area. On-site testing, which means you have to go to center physically and see what are the requirements for that particular thing. So you can go in detail and see all of those things. You just search on internet web assessor ServiceNow, you'll find it out immediately. Then you can reschedule or cancel appointment, right? You can get exam results. So yeah, this is what it happens. We just talked about all these things. Appear exam, get result, share a badge, and verify a certification. So once you get the results, they give you the options. Share your badge with social media, with the people who you want to share with, and verify your certification. That is the whole idea. One more interesting thing is here, which is you have to know that you have to renew your certifications for Delta exams. For example, there is a new release, for example, like somebody has done the certifications Rome and it is now San Diego, then they have to appear for Delta exams to keep their certification up and running. So which means it is a continuous process of learning and enhancement that you will have to renew your certifications, because they have certain things in every releases and they want you to know those things, that what has come new. And it is not a very big exam. It is not a 90-minute exam, 60 questions. It will be a smaller exam, I would say, where you just need to renew, or you will have very few questions there, just for checking the Delta part. And maintenance fees, you have to give some maintenance fees also to ensure that your certifications are not expiring. Once you've done all of that, you've got a positive result, bingo, you are now a ServiceNow certified system administrator. This is the first step, to be honest, right? It is not that it is the end of the world. It is, to be honest, if you want to go to ServiceNow journey, this is the beginning of that ServiceNow journey. After that, there are so many certifications in there, multiple products which you can do based on your interest as well as a job role, right? This is where things differ from individuals to individuals. Somebody is doing it for ITSM, somebody is doing it for service ITOM discovery, somebody is doing for ITOM event management, somebody is doing for service mapping ITOM, somebody is doing for HR service delivery. There are so many modules and products we talked about already in the first class. So based on that, they have exams, and when you do Google, you can find out on their websites, on their official websites, like what are those blueprints of the examination, what are the things, what is the syllabus covered, how much portion, what kind of percentage is covered for that particular exam. Because this particular training is for certified system administrator, so I've just put in something about it. This is where you get things from the examination blueprint, that it is a 60 exam, 60 questions. It is a multiple choice or multiple select answer format. This is where, as I said, you will have multiple select answers also. Duration is 90 minutes. Exam voucher cost is $300. As I said, the cost can change if you are a partner portal, if you are a customer for ServiceNow, it can change. It can go up to any amount, of course, less than $300. And this is the high-level overview of the course content or syllabus expected for ServiceNow System Administrator Certification. Now, what you see here is user interface and navigation, ServiceNow overview, lists and filters, forms and templates, branding. 20% of that comes from there. Collaboration, task management, notifications, reporting, 20% comes from there. Database administration, data schema, application access control, CMDB, import sets, 30% will come from there. So bigger weightage, I would say. Self-service and process automation, 20%. Knowledge management, service catalog, flow design, introduction, development, scripting, migration, integration, development, 10%. Now, this is where people have to decide the strategies as per their strong point and weak points. Now, again, it is not only applicable for ServiceNow exam. Any exam you give in this world, any competitive exam, or even your school exams, your university exams, your certifications, this strategy has to be done thoroughly, which means you already know what your strong points are. So focus on them, because you don't have to score 100% to get the examination, right? So once you achieve that passing percentage, you should be good to go. Now, if you see the syllabus course content we have actually covered all of them. See this here, right? User interface, navigation, ServiceNow overview, listing, filter, forms, templates, branding, all of this is here. Then you have collaboration, task management, notifications, reporting, all of this here. And that too, we did it in sequence actually. Database administration, data schema, application access control, CMDB, import sets. See this data schema, access control, importing data, CMDB. Then you have knowledge management, service catalog, flow designer, knowledge management, service catalog, flow designer, development, introduction. So again, as a part of administration training, they don't expect you to, a very strong developer. You just need to do basics exams. So for example, if you remember, when we're talking about this platform scripting, we just talked about what are different kinds of platform scripting, like business scripts, business rules, client scripts, UI policies, data policies. So just a high level understanding. What are these all about? Under what conditions you apply them? And we have already had one detailed class around it. So I think that's not a big problem for you. Migration, integration, all good. Development. So we've covered all that topic here. In fact, if you see, we have covered more than that also. We have seen some part of PA, we have seen some part of service catalog, we have seen some part of events, instant stats, we have seen some part of custom application development, we have seen service on mobile apps, virtual agent overview, portal, we have seen ITSM overview. So that is what I was saying, that as a part of this training, the value add is that you are getting certain things which are over and above your CSA training. And of course, we have covered everything which is a part of CSA training. The only thing you have to do is just go to through those terms and terminologies which are important for the examination perspective, which you'll get when you do some practice exams in the backend. And just read the question carefully. Wherever there are multiple select answers, do them carefully, because one single answer is wrong, then your entire question is wrong. So it is very important to be very serious about those kind of questions. Single ones are a little easier to crack, to be honest. So this is all about the certification exam for ServiceNow. Now, last bit I just want to talk about is how is the entire certification journey for ServiceNow. I mean, this is more in terms of next steps. After you've done your CSA certification exam, what are the next steps you can go into? So this is how it looks like. For example, if I go here, if I show you, so understand this, right? This is the same thing which I talked about, that what they have designed the courses as per the job roles and interest area. So you are an admin, you are an application developer, you are an implementation specialist, you are an application specialist, you are expert. When I say expert, this is the highest level of certification you can achieve in ServiceNow. There are two certificates under that area. One is certified master architect and certified technical architect. These very, very strong certifications. Very few people have done it, to be honest. So it is like highest level of certificate we achieve in ServiceNow. Now here you can, this is when you say application specialist, which means, okay, let me, so which means it is like, for example, I'm doing ITSM as a suite. Now to do that suite, I have to do certain mainline exams. So when I say mainline exams, I'm talking about something like system administrator's mainline exam. All of these exams, CIS, CAD, CSA, all of these exams, certified system administrator, certified application developer, certified implementation specialist. All these exams are actually your mainline exams. Even this is your mainline exam. However, in the case of suite, the difference is the suite is a combination of mainline plus your micro certifications. And what are micro certifications? Micro certifications, there are some exams, certifications in ServiceNow Now Learning Portal, which you can just go through training. You just appear for the exam there. It does not involve any cost. It does not involve any registration on web assessor account. It does not involve any kind of online proctoring and everything. That's all. So it is, I mean, in terms of process and procedure, it is easier to achieve a micro certification, right? But achieving only micro certification does not really help. It helps when you combine it with some mainline certifications for that particular thing. For example, I'll give you an example here. If you were to apply for ServiceNow ITSM Professional Suite certification, then you have to do Certified Implementation Specialist ITSM, this one for ITSM. So as I said, all of these exams are for a particular product. Except CSA is not for any product. Everything else here is a product level certification, CIS, discovery, CIS, service mapping, CIS, ITSM. So based on the modules they have, you can do that particular CIS, that particular CAD, that particular. CMA CTA is not for any suite certifications. Right now, so for example, in case of ServiceNow suite for ITSM professional, you have to do certified implementation specialist for ITSM. One is here. Then you have to do 3 micro certifications. One is predictive intelligence, second is performance analytics, and third is virtual agent. But to be honest, these 3 are quite common in most of the certifications because these are now platform capabilities and that too advanced capabilities. So once you achieve this understanding, once you do these 3, it can be, you can club them together for any other mainline exam and you can get the suite certification. So this is where I said strategy does matter. You need to understand, you design your things accordingly that, okay, how do I get the maximum output with the minimum input? So identify those minimum exams for micro certifications, which are repeatedly used for multiple suite certifications. And for suite certification, you don't have to give an examination. So the moment you do this CIS, ITSM professional, and you combine these 3, you can apply for suite certification. They'll verify that, okay, you have all these 4 certifications already, 1 mainframe, mainline, and 3 micro certifications. They'll give you suite certification. They will not conduct any separate exam for a suite certification. It is just to understand whether you have understood that application to that level which they expect. So that is why it is at level of application specialist, right? And expert, as I said, one is certified technical architect, last is certified master architect. This is the highest level exam you can have in ServiceNow. So from my side, I think I've covered the next step in the journey, everything, whatever we discussed, whatever was part of the syllabus. So this marks the end of this 20 days training for ServiceNow system administrator. I hope you liked it. I hope it is useful for you guys. If you have any questions, please leave your comments on my YouTube videos, right? And feel free to ask any questions there. Suggestions are also welcome. Thanks for watching so far. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe, like, and share among your friends so that, this free of cost training reaches multiple people and they can also get benefit out of it. That's the whole objective of this training. Thank you very much, everyone.